Festus Keyamo, has charged the newly inaugurated board of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria to align with the ministry's reform agenda and avoid conflict with the management of the agency. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony in Abuja, the minister stated that the board must act strictly in its oversight and policy formulation role. Our correspondent, Queen Agaba, reports. Moving on, Vice President Kashim Shettima has raised the alarm over the devastating impact of malnutrition on Nigerian children, revealing that 40% of those under the age of 5 suffer from physical and cognitive impairment as a result. Speaking at the National Summit on Nutrition and Food Security, the Vice President, represented by Ibrahim Adejia, announced a new government-led initiative aimed at tackling the crisis. Correspondent Anitia Patrick has more. Apologies, will bring you the report in our later bulletin. Now moving on, the Senate has expressed strong disapproval over what it described as prolonged marginalization and lopsidedness in the recruitment practices of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, spanning more than 2 decades. During the investigative hearing on recruitment disparities in federal agencies, the Senate Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs, chaired by Senator Awell Onyoso, hosted officials from both NAFDAC and the Transmission Company of Nigeria. Tom Sigimba reports.
The chairman, Senate Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs, chaired by Senator Awell Onyoso, described the unequal regional representation within NAFDAC's workforce, accusing unnamed powerful individuals of manipulating the recruitment process. He insisted that such imbalances could not be justified in a diverse country like Nigeria.
Those areas, and if you follow the history of other ones we've looked at, you will see that for everywhere you have excessive employment, somebody strong comes from there.
Also speaking, the Senate Minority Whip, Senator Osita Ugo Enugu West, linked the mass relocation of Nigerian medical doctors and other health professionals abroad to unemployment and persistent recruitment and bias in federal agencies.
Unemployment is one of the biggest problems in Nigeria today. How can we say we don't have doctors and pharmacists when they are running out of the country? Some can't run because they don't have the means. And some are trying to run because they don't have the job. So if we are open and transparent, we will see these people.
In her response, the Director General of the NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, acknowledged the concerns raised but clarified the agency had not conducted any recent recruitment. She attributed the existing imbalance to past recruitment exercises and emphasized that addressing the issue will require time.
Also affects us in NAFDAC is the fact that we are a scientific organization. Except for HRM and accounts, we are a scientific organization. Medical doctors, lawyers, veterinarians, pharmacists, and all areas of science.
The committee pledged to continue its oversight functions to ensure transparency, fairness, and equity in public sector recruitment as part of efforts to promote national unity and inclusiveness. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Global Television News.
The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has charged the newly inaugurated board of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria to align with the ministry's reform agenda and avoid conflict with the management of the agency. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony in Abuja, the minister stated that the board must act strictly in its oversight and policy formulation role. Our correspondent, Queen Agaba, reports.
Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, told the newly inaugurated board members that the aviation sector is Nigeria's gateway to the world and demands a high level of professionalism and discipline. He urged them to avoid meddling in operational matters, especially revenue departments, which have now been excluded from board supervision.
Your work will ensure that our airports become not just gateways to the world, but also symbols of national pride and progress. In conclusion, let us all reaffirm our commitment to the vision enshrined in the Federal Airport Authority Act. Together, let us work towards elevating the standards of our aviation sector, improving connectivity, fostering economic growth, and ultimately enhancing the quality of life of all Nigerians.
Chairman of the board, Dr. Umar Abdullahi Ganduje, in his remarks, thanked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the opportunity to serve and pledged to work harmoniously with both the minister and the FAAN management team. He emphasized that Nigerian airports must reflect the image of a modern and investor-friendly country.
I assure you, in conjunction with the executive management, will ensure service delivery, because that is the whole essence of FAAN, service delivery. And this service delivery is becoming more and more complicated because there are so many stakeholder institutions, both at national level and international level.
Managing Director of FAAN, Olubumi Kuku, assured the board of full cooperation from management. She says the agency is already pursuing several reforms aimed at enhancing passenger experience, strengthening infrastructure, and improving safety standards.
That the Federal Airport Authority will focus on institutional governance. We would work very closely with the board and the ministry to drive the strategic agenda.
The inauguration marks a renewed push by the ministry to sanitize and reposition Nigeria's aviation sector. The new board is expected to play a crucial role in ensuring that policy decisions translate into efficient, world-class airport operations nationwide. For Global Television, Queen Agaba reporting.
The Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed July 18 for ruling on a motion seeking to restrain the National Assembly from approving budgets or appointment of Rivers government under current sole administrator. Justice James Omotosho fixed the date after counsel for applicant Ambrose Owuru and the defense lawyer Mohammed Galadima presented their arguments for and against the motion of interlocutory injunction. Retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas was appointed as Rivers sole administrator by President Bola Tinubu following the 6-month suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Moving on, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says it has deployed mobile intensive care unit ambulances to its operational offices in Kaduna, Owerri, and Uyo to boost emergency response and save lives during the predicted flood season. In a statement released in Abuja by the agency's press unit, the Director General, Zubeida Umar, approved the deployment following an assessment that revealed critical equipment gaps in some of the field offices, noting that the decision aligned with its ongoing efforts to optimize resources allocation and improve disaster response capabilities at the subnational level. Umar noted that the deployment was a strategic step towards strengthening the operational capacity of the agency's zonal directorates and operation offices. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced that it will open its portal for online continuous voters registration in Akwa Ibom State on August 18, 2025, ahead of the 2027 general elections. The resident electoral commissioner in the state, Obo Afanga, made this known during his maiden media briefing at the Commission State Headquarters in Uyo. Efanga stated that in the next couple of weeks, Independent National Electoral Commission will start again the process of the continuous voters registration. Starting on August 18, we will have the opportunity for people to do the online pre-registration of processes. In a related development, the Anambra State government has called on residents to participate fully in the ongoing continuous voters registration exercise, which kicked off across the state on July 8. The State Commissioner for Information, Lomefo, who made this call, said it is part of efforts to strengthen democracy and ensure inclusive participation in the governorship election coming up in the state on November 8, 2025. The Independent National Electoral Commission says the continuous voters registration exercise will end on July 17, noting that it has provided an opportunity for eligible voters to obtain their permanent voters card to participate in the forthcoming governorship election in the state. You are watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. When News Cycle returns shortly, United Arab Emirates tightens visa rules, bans Nigeria transit applications. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now we go to the business news. Dangote Petroleum Refinery has slashed the depot price of premium motor spirit, popularly known as petrol, to 820 naira per litre from 838 naira per litre as competition heightens in Nigeria's domestic market. The adjustment was also due to the drop in crude oil prices to $70 per barrel from more than $77 per barrel in June 2025. However, other operators also adjusted their depot prices at different rates in order to be competitive under the current circumstances. Nigeria and 3 other West African cocoa-producing countries are likely to see a fresh 10% output decline in the upcoming 2025-2026 season, despite marginally improved weather conditions. Production has reportedly faced 2 successive below-average harvests before the last projection. Ivory Coast and Ghana, the world's 2 leading producers, along with Nigeria and Cameroon, account for over 2/3 of global cocoa output as they struggle with shifting weather patterns, aging tree stocks, disease, and destructive small-scale gold mining. On the foreign scene, the Enclave Health Ministry in Gaza says at least 105 Palestinians, including 7 aid seekers, have been killed and 530 injured in Israeli's attack across Gaza in the past 24 hours. United States President Donald Trump and the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have met for the second time in 24 hours about a ceasefire in Gaza, but there appears to be no breakthrough. The United Nations has warned that the fuel crisis in Gaza due to the Israeli blockade has reached a critical point and will cause further death and suffering in the besieged Palestinian territory. The U.S. Department of State has limited non-immigrant and non-diplomatic visas issued to citizens of Nigeria to a single entry with a 3-month validity period. In a statement, the United States mission in Nigeria said the move aligns with the Donald Trump administration's reciprocal non-immigrant visa policy, impacting several countries, including Nigeria. The mission encouraged Nigerian travelers to respect and adhere to the terms of their visas and ensure travel documents are authentic, accurate, and up-to-date. In another development, the United Arab Emirates UAE has imposed stricter visa conditions on Nigerian travelers, including a ban on transit visa applications. The new policy comes less than a year after both countries resolved a protracted visa dispute. Under the revised guidelines, Nigerian nationals aged 18 to 45 are barred from applying for tourist visas unless accompanied. Now go to the sports news. Quadri Aruna will face world number 4 and tournament third seed Tomokazu Harimoto in a blockbuster round of 32 clash at the U.S. Grand Smash in Las Vegas as he continues his quest for a deep run in one of the sport's most prestigious events. The match against Harimoto will be the 7th meeting between the two players in the past 6 years, with Aruna recording 2 wins in their last 3 encounters, though the Japanese ace came out victorious in their most recent encounter at the World Table Tennis Star Contender Doha earlier this year, dispatching Aruna 3-0 in a straight game on January 11. Their most memorable clash came at the World Table Tennis Champions front court in November 2024, where Aruna staged an upset by edging Harimoto 3-2 in a tense 5-game thriller. And still on sports, Ahmed Musa will continue playing for Nigeria Premier Football League club Kano Pillars despite his current status as general manager of the club. Musa was appointed general manager of the 4-time Nigeria Premier Football League champions last weekend. The former Leicester City player has officially assumed the role. Alvaro Morata's exit from Galatasaray is being delayed by the club's bid to sign Victor Osimhen on a permanent basis. Como have all but agreed a deal for Morata to leave the Turkish champions. However, the Spaniard will not be allowed to leave the Istanbul club until they are able to bring a striker. And that is it on Global TV News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using the handle @GlobalTVNG. I am Priscilla Obasi. Thank you for watching. Good evening.